Happiness can be an elusive concept. Most of us, I think, probably would have a hard time even describing what happiness means, let alone how to find it in our lives. Michael Weinberger has fought some tough battles with bipolar disorder and all the issues that come along with that illness. Through it all, he's developed something he calls the happiness formula. And I think if it's possible to lay out a prescription for happiness, Michael might be getting close. Keep listening as he lays it out for you on today's One Simple Thing podcast.
It's time to build a better business by building a better you. This is One Simple Thing.
Welcome to the show. Dave Kirby here with you. It's our recap episode. We're going to be diving back into the previous four and playing clips with my guest, Michael Weinberger, who, through his struggles, like I mentioned, with bipolar disorder, has developed a strategy to overcome. He's packaged that strategy into an app that he calls A Plan for Living. It's a free app that will help you put into practice what we're going to talk about today, his happiness formula. It's available on iPhone and Android by clicking the link we have for you at onesimplethingonline.com. So let's get into it. You know, through his illness and therapy, Michael has developed the happiness formula, which is gratitude, spirituality, and mindfulness plus awareness equals happiness. So in episode 521, we started with the first element of that formula, which is gratitude. We talked about the fact that once we grasp the essence of what gratitude really is in our lives, we can even learn to be thankful and grateful for the negative things that happen to us.
I think that as you kind of truly get in touch with yourself and start to realize what really makes you operate, you can become grateful for the negatives in your life. And if I may give a simple example, I grew up in a house with a verbally and emotionally abusive father. I've been expelled from colleges and I've gotten divorced. And my father, my ex-wife, and my colleges are all on my gratitude list virtually daily, right? Because my father gave me the opportunity to teach me how never to treat another human being. Right? And my ex-wife taught me how to truly be in a better marriage. Yeah. Right? Unfortunately, it didn't help that marriage, but it wasn't meant to be, right? That's the spiritual aspect of my life. The grateful aspect of my life is I had an opportunity to start over.
Yeah. You look at these negative experiences, reframe them. And I know something you say is that it's less about what happens to you and the more about how you react to the things that happen to you, right?
That's right. The happiness formula, people don't realize that good feelings pass as quickly as bad feelings, or vice versa, right? People believe that bad feelings last forever and good feelings exist in a vacuum and happen for a moment.
Yeah.
And the reality is when you practice gratitude and spirituality and mindfulness, you're actually able to identify when you're in a bad feeling and let go of it, right? So you can come out in a happier, better place.
To me, there are two keys to being happy, even in bad situations, right? Or to finding gratitude. Number one, it's typically the bad situations in our lives where we learn things, where we grow, where we find out what we're made of, right? So while it might not be fun in the middle of a tough situation, we can be grateful for it because we know we're going to learn a valuable lesson. We know we're going to be stronger when we get through to the other side. And then I also love that idea that Michael says, bad things are going to happen, right? They just are. So we can either be stressed out and upset when the bad things happen, or we can be grateful. We can learn to let it go and learn to accept happiness even in the middle of those things. I love that thought. The second element of Michael's happiness formula is spirituality. And on episode 522, he described what that means to him.
Spirituality for me is basically anything that happens in the universe that I have no control over, or anything that happens in the universe that I can't explain. And so, here's a simple way to determine if you've ever been spiritual. For any of us that have tried to lose weight, right? Yeah. As you approach the scale and you pause for a moment because you think about how terrible your food has been, right? That pause right before you get on the scale, my question to you is, who are you talking to? Right? You are talking to whatever universe you believe in, right? Call it God, call it, Sally. It doesn't matter. If you pause, you're like, man, I guess something out there is going to help me because it's not working out. That's it. And for those people that don't have weight issues, I'm not blessed. Whenever you go to the ATM and it says, do you want a statement after you've had a long weekend or a vacation? And you pause before you ask for that statement. Again, that's your spirituality in action.
So it's the understanding that there are things that are outside my control. It's that moment when when something's wrong and I go, God, please help me, or I even just reach out with that, I don't know what to do here kind of attitude. That's kind of the spirituality you're talking about then, right?
That's right. That's right. It's not a religious spirituality. It's and some people use the term God, right? It's whatever you want to refer to, because I believe spirituality impacts everyone, the religious and the non-religious.
I grew up in a Christian environment, Christian home. I'm a Christian myself, follow Christ. But that doesn't really matter to me in this moment. What matters to me is that whatever you call it, whatever you believe, I'm not here to tell you how to live or what to believe, but whatever you believe about the universe around you, learning to accept that there are things you can't control and learning to trust that there maybe is a force outside of you that has the ability to change things in your life, or just learning to let go. What a powerful skill that is. I mean, if we're talking about happiness here, right? One of the main elements of happiness is learning to accept that there are things I can't control and learning to be happy even in the middle of those things. The final element of Michael's happiness formula is mindfulness. And I asked Michael on 523 how he would define mindfulness.
Mindfulness is literally the slowing down of your mind, or the down regulation of your emotions to be completely present. The easiest way I could describe it is if you put your hands out in front of you, your left hand are your thoughts and your feelings, and your right hands are your actions, right? And so many of us live with our hands clapped right in front of our faces, right? You get cut off, you immediately curse, right? You drop a glass of milk, you immediately are frustrated. But for me, when I look at my hands out in front of myself, the distance between my left hand and my right hand involves two arms, two shoulders, and a head that it has to pass before I react. And so mindfulness is about creating distance between the time I have a thought and the time I react to that thought.
So there's a stimulus, right? Something bad happens. And it's the ability just to slow myself down, breathe a little bit, and allow myself to really be present in that moment. And instead of just reacting, being intentional about how I act.
That's right. That's right. Because what people don't realize is when you have an experience and you react to it, you're reacting to something that's already happened. Right?
Yeah.
So this is the example I'll give you. Try and change the outcome on the news from yesterday. Right? So if you get cut off and you overreact, you've already been cut off. The reaction doesn't reduce the cutoff, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You're still cut off, and now you're angry about it. So you're now expending energy on something you can't change. So I'd rather expend energy on the things I can change, right? I'd rather expend energy on trying to be happy and trying to be present and trying to be connected to the people around me. So mindfulness is about realizing that whatever's happened to you has already happened. Let's just see that we've made it, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You know, the simple saying, "This too shall pass." Believe it or not, as it applies to mindfulness, I would say all of this has passed already. Let's expend the appropriate amount of energy for the event.
I can personally attest to the practice of mindfulness. I've not become some sort of meditation guru or whatever. But I just know there are times when I feel a certain way. Maybe I feel depressed. Maybe I feel fearful. Maybe I don't feel like doing anything in the moment. And I know that when I'll sit down and I'll just begin to get curious about why I feel that way, what is going on in my heart or in my mind that's causing me to feel that way, I usually come up with an answer. And when I come up with the answer, it's usually something then that offers me some sort of a solution that can help me move past it. So although I don't practice it well, I don't practice it enough, I can attest to the powerful effects of mindfulness in our lives. On episode 524, we kind of put it all together. Michael and I talked about how the happiness formula fits together to create a genuine level of happiness in our lives.
If you're being present and you're being mindful, right, because you're just experiencing that moment. At that moment, you don't have bills to pay. You're not running late. You're there. There's nothing to worry about in the world, right? You could be grateful you're going on vacation. You could be grateful you have everything you've accomplished. That's happiness, right? Happiness isn't winning the lottery, although that's a form of happiness. Happiness is being okay not winning the lottery. And so many people believe that if I win the lottery, I will be happy. And I will tell you something. If I'm sitting in my backyard drinking an iced tea on a summer day and watching my kids play, and I'm not thinking about paying my bills, I'm happy. I'm truly happy. And so that to me is really the awareness becomes, what does happiness mean for you? And you don't know what it is until you start that internal dialogue.
And that's the awareness factor, right?
That's exactly right, which is why I believe that these gratitude, spirituality, and mindfulness create this awareness. It starts hey, I'm aware of everything I'm grateful for. I'm aware of everything I can't control. I'm aware of my own breath. And things aren't that bad.
What a spot to get to in our lives, huh? Where things aren't that bad, where we can admit that there are things we can't control, that we can be grateful for what we have in our lives. We can be aware of where we are. There are worse places to be, right? That just seems like a very stable, kind of solid foundation to live our lives on. And I love what Michael said in that clip, that happiness is not winning the lottery. Happiness is knowing that you could be content without winning the lottery. And that just, like I said, it just seems like a stable foundation for our lives. So again, my gratitude to Michael Weinberger for being on the show with me over the last few episodes here. I've learned a lot. Hopefully you have as well. And I encourage you to pick up his app, because everything that we've talked about regarding the happiness formula, his app, A Plan for Living, helps you develop it, helps you track it, and helps you implement it in your life. The app is called A Plan for Living. It's available for both iOS and Android devices. We have a link on our website. Just go to onesimplething.online.com. Look at that banner ad on the right-hand side of the page, and that'll take you to where you can pick up the app. So again, thanks to Michael for being here. Thanks to you for being here as well. Would love to get back together with you on the next episode. Hopefully we'll do so. I'm Dave Kirby, and thanks for listening to the One Simple Thing podcast.